The decision I made had to boil down to who I'm closest to. It was purely based on emotions and friendship, I guess.
Had you been in the same position, how would you have handled it?
Yeah, big brother, to hit the nail on the head, as people would say, I would have chosen Ashley. I'm not going to buy faces and be like, this person, this is maybe, this is a powerful person in the house. No, I have to be apologetic about it. No, for me, if you've done something wrong, I don't care who you are. I'm just going to be at the point where I'm telling you this is wrong.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen, I don't know why these days I kind of like taking off my mic from my shirt and just holding onto it whilst I speak to all of you. I feel like this feels more intimate, like we're having a one-on-one conversation. Yeah, so bear with me. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, today's Tuesday and half the house had their diary session today. You know how Biggie has been doing it this season. Tomorrow, the second half of the house will have their diary session. But I thoroughly enjoyed today's session because the housemates that had their session, they were quite impressive. Yep, they're quite impressive. And you know, diary sessions are one of those or diary session days are one of those days that I always look forward to in every new week in Big Brother's house, because hey, there's either an eviction that has been carried out or probably a twist that has been carried out on Sunday or probably the previous week or even during the nominations, and we want to know what the housemates are thinking. We want to know how their minds are working the very next day. You know, it's more like the aftermath of all of that drama, the trauma, the shock, the suspense, the confusion. So we want to know their state of mind. And that was exactly how today's diary session was. And guys, I really loved it. And some of the housemates actually did confirm my perception about them, about the games that they have been playing this season, guys. I God, see, it was interesting. So let me stop blabbing and let's get right into it. First off, you're all specially welcome to my channel. My name is Gloria Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah, and I am the girl with the tea. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Okay, so first, beginning with Muzi's diary session. Guys, it was quite entertaining. It was hilarious. That guy is funny like he is not funny. Yeah. And I think it's majorly because of how he keeps a straight face when he's saying the most ridiculous things. And I'm sure as hell that Big Brother was having a good laugh wherever he was at that point in time. However, I am deeply concerned for this guy because every time he is questioned about his preference for a love partner. How did Big Brother put it? Yeah. An ideal partner. That was Big Brother's description. An ideal partner. This guy is always so quick to saying his calling in this life is to date white women, Spanish, Danish. And if you think about it, yeah, that's his preference. That's his preference. Anybody can say that, oh, I don't like, for instance, I can say that, okay, I don't like dating Nigerian men. I like dating white men. I like dating Americans or British men, you know, or Asian men. I could say that, right? And it could pass for just talks because that is my preference. And that is because I'm also explaining myself to people that care to listen that, okay, this is my preference, this is what I like. But Muzi should know better that he's from South Africa. And there are a lot of sensitive issues in that society. There are things you cannot just afford to open your mouth and blah. You can't. In the first 2 weeks of this season, he said this thing a lot and he got a lot of drags. And because of that whole Bonnie B situation going on at the time, people did not really pay attention to him. If not, he would have been cancelled instantly. And so during his diary session today again, he repeated it. People that asked him just a simple question, you know, all for the theme of the week of love, Valentine, spirit, and whatnot. He was asked that question. Oh, how would you describe your ideal partner? And as he had said the same thing again. Oh, I feel like my calling to this life is to date white women, Danish women, Spanish women. Yes, he's got an adventurous spirit, but that wasn't necessary. And I love the fact that Big Brother had to rephrase the question that, okay, aside the race or the color, in terms of personality traits, and that was when he now started responding. And I'm like, this guy, I'm sorry, but let me not say what's on my mind. People will say glory is too petty. People will say glory is too petty. But I just feel like that's ignorance on his part. You should know better. And the way he says it with so much pride. It's more like innocent pride, more like naivety or ignorance. I don't know which one it is, but it's like, this is who I am. This is the guys. It was just exhausting. But anyways, away from that, and I really do hope that this does not put him in trouble. I really do hope that people do not really hold this to mind. Yes, by the time he goes back into the real world, that people just take him that, okay, he's just expressing his preference and there's nothing more to it. Away from that, Biggie had asked him what he thought about last night's eviction of Ashley Ogle, and the guy was so funny. He had said that if he was in Swiss's shoes, because people had asked him if he were in Swiss's shoes, how would you have handled the situation? He said that he would have fainted. Big Brother would have had to wake him up and give him some time to recuperate. And Big Brother said, okay, after you have fainted, woken up and recuperated, how would you handle it? He said he would have done the same thing that Swiss did. Because it just did not make sense that an adult like Ashley would be stealing food, knowing how things works in the house, shortage of supplies and whatnot, you're stealing, that people just felt like, nah, that was extreme. The fact that you said you did it and you were still doing it, even after you apologized, it just does not make sense. So that was his response to that. Now, I must mention to all of you that for these diary sessions, Big Brother was not only asking the housemates questions about Ashley's eviction. No, there were other questions concerning the theme of the week and what game they will be playing, moving forward to stay surviving in the game for the rest of the season. Yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just basically picking out the most interesting aspect of these housemates diary sessions. All right, that does not mean that the areas I'm focusing on are the only questions that Big Brother had asked them. Okay, but away from Mzansi, the next person that had the diary session was Jojo. And guys, I was so impressed by Jojo's level of reasoning. Now, of course, she had been asked about Ashley's eviction last night, what she thought about Swiss's choice between Ashley and Nsuku. And she had said confidently that she feels like Swiss's decision was based on emotions and not strategy. The one thing she understands about the game is if you are nominating, you should try and nominate based on strategy, because you're trying to eliminate your strongest contender. So the fact that Swiss had been having issues back to back with Ashley, also looking at the fact that Ashley had been stealing food, had been very uncouth and arrogant in the house, and all the many things that came with Ashley's stay this season, that for Swiss, that was just an opportunity for him to just eliminate her. And so he went with his emotions. And guys, I was so impressed because you see that part where she talked about eliminating your competition? It means that she actually recognized that Nsuku was actually a strong contender, just as I had explained on my previous video. Guys, if you missed out on that video, please go ahead and check it out because I actually gave more clarity and elaboration to the details of everything that actually happened last night with regards to Ashley's eviction. All right. But anyways, moving on, the next person that had a diary session was Tyrone. And oh my goodness, guys. See, I was over here and I was applauding Tyrone. I'd mentioned on one of my videos that, I think it was my previous video, I'd mentioned that Tyrone is insanely smart. And I'm telling you again right now that Tyrone is one of the smartest, in fact, not even one of, Tyrone is the smartest housemate this season. Smart in all ramifications. That guy is playing a fantastic social game. That guy is the newest Tools. You see how Tools played this game the previous season that got him to the finals without getting nominated. Even at the time when he got nominated, he was saved. Someone had to betray their best friend in the house to save Tools. That was how well Tools had played the game, to the point that he was completely invisible to everybody in the house. And that is the exact same game that Tyrone has been playing since this is the 5th week now, and nobody has ever nominated Tyrone, ever. Nobody has said anything bad about this guy. Nobody has gossiped about Tyrone. Nobody has anything negative to say about Tyrone. They don't even talk about Tyrone in the house. It's like you don't even see him in the house. Now, I would say the same thing for Mzansi, but Mzansi, has actually been nominated quite a number of times. He only got lucky because his nominations did not get up to 3. But talk about that person that has never been nominated at all, never had anything negative about him said. It's Tyrone. And this guy admitted to the game he's playing during his diary session. Now, of course, Big Brother had asked him about his thoughts about the event of last night. And he had tried to be politically correct, so he had avoided answering the question straight up so it doesn't come off as a bad person. But when asked, what he would have done if he was in Sweetie's shoes, he had repeated the same thing he said last night, that he would have done the same thing because he never really got to bond with Ashley. He never really knew Ashley like that, blah, 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 blah. Ashley did not necessarily build connections in the house. She was not really interacting with people. She was always cornered up with Sweet Guluva. And all of his reasons were actually valid, yes. And there was something he also said, guys, hold on a second. I need to consult my manual. Yes, he said that he wasn't really sure if it was Ashley's strategy to self-isolate, allow people in or allow people out. He doesn't really know, but that was how she played that game and it did not go to her advantage. But then Biggie had then asked him, to share whatever kind of game he would play. Like, how would he play his game moving forward to sustain his stay in the house? And he said, and I quote, that he has been playing the game as a viewer all this while, observing people, getting to know people in and out. And now he has seen that all the loud people have been eliminated. So now, to play the game further, he intends to get louder, like be more louder, but with sense and logic. His goal at the end of the day is to not get nominated, that nobody should mention his name at all. But he's going to live his life in a way that is going to be indispensable. People will know that he is valuable. He's an asset in the house and they need him. And guys, the moment Tyrone said that, it took my mind back to how this guy takes charge over the wager task preparations every week. The moment the head of house for that week reads out the brief, Tyrone immediately takes on the mantle of leadership. He steps into that title, comfortably handles it all, and people listen to him, and he puts himself as the MC of the day. And guys, people don't even pay attention that this guy is planting himself in their heads, that without me, nobody can get this wager right 100%, whether they win or lose. Ladies and gentlemen, please, can you give a standing ovation to Tyrone? Because this guy is a genius. Mandy Hagan was the next housemate that had her diary session. And ladies and gentlemen, it felt like she was nagging in my ears. So first, she had talked about Ashley and Sweet Guluva's relationship, about how it looks like they were living in their own bubbles. They were not making connections in the house. They were isolating themselves. And you see that thing about isolation, it's just basically what everybody was talking about. Everybody was just complaining about the fact that they were not making connections. They were not making friends in the house. They were just in their own world. Like, they were not in Big Brother's house, which was not right, And she had moved on to talk about why she had nominated Nsuku. She was talking about Nsuku is rude. She's vile. Every time Nsuku opens her mouth, she's disrespectful. And I was just listening to Mandy, and to be quite honest with all of you, I was bored. I was bored because I am sick and tired of hearing Mandy describe people as disrespectful, as this, as loud, as that, as that. I'm like, Mandy, there are lots of mirrors in Big Brother's house. One day, do yourself a favor and not just look at it and pass. Stand there and look within, and you see beneath the layers of yourself and see that every time you describe people in a certain way, you're actually describing yourself. Because, girl, you are loud. You're loud, you're rude sometimes, and you're disrespectful sometimes. And it pains me so much because every time she comes for Nsuku like that, guys, I understand it's a game, but every time she comes for Nsuku like that, it's like, girl, you are the one person that the whole housemates are fed up of, because you always want people to listen to you, to understand you, to take your own side. You always jump into conclusions. Even this morning, BK was complaining to Nate again. Muzi is complaining. Everybody's complaining about you. You always want people to shove down their throat, respect Mandy, respect Mandy. You want people to accept you the way you are. When people are trying to say something or correct you, you say, that's my opinion. But then, you never want to also accept people for the way they are. So, is that not hypocrisy at the highest order? I mean, guys, listening to Mandy's diary session, I was bored. I was tired because it was like a broken record. You're saying the same thing over and over and over again, but you never want to look at yourself and see that you're just as much of a problem as the people that you're describing in that house. You want to be the one that does everything, but you don't want anybody to reciprocate the same energy to you. The next person to have his diary session, and exactly as I had analyzed on my previous video, Swiss had said the same thing about the reason behind his decision to evict Ashley from the show. According to him, it was based on friendship and emotions, which does not exist between him and Ashley. He said he understands that Sweet Guluva is his friend, but he has really bonded with Nsuku. Nsuku is a cool person. They have a friendship already. But with Ashley, that is not the case. So for him, there was no point. And of course, other indices involved as well, which I explained on my previous video about him not liking the way Ashley conducts herself in the house and the stealing of food and every other thing. Yeah. And guys, to be honest, the feeling is mutual. Ashley completely dislikes Swiss. So I was not shocked. I was not surprised that Swiss had gone for Ashley. Yes, I mean, he wasn't going to evict his friend and leave somebody that is a foe to him in the house, right? And he had been asked the same question that Biggie had been asking other housemates, that how would he play the game moving forward to sustain his stay in the house? And this young man had said that he was going to continue building more bridges. Let me see. He was going to continue building proper bridges and staying competitive. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, that was a perfect answer. Because it was very obvious that last night's eviction for Ashley was built based on a burnt bridge. If Sweet Guluva was still best friends with Swiss as they were in week 1 and week 2, I'm very sure that Swiss would have saved Ashley because of his friendship with Sweet Guluva. But Sweet Guluva took Ashley's weird advice to stay away from Swiss. Ashley was the one that pitted Sweet Guluva against his friend Swiss. Told Sweet Guluva all sorts of things about Swiss, blah, 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 blah. And Sweet Guluva took his girlfriend's advice. Ashley specifically told Sweet Guluva to stop talking to Swiss, to stop interacting with Swiss completely. And Sweet Guluva listened and did exactly what Ashley said. So for Swiss, well, there's no bridge between us anymore. It's all burnt bridges. It's all ashes. Oh, Ashley's name is Ashley, right? Ashes. It's all ashes, literally, and any other way you want to put it. So yeah, you can't fault him. You can't blame him. So you see, building a bridge worked. And I mentioned it jokingly in one of my videos that, wow, Swiss is now going around, forming new alliances. And that's exactly what he had done with Nsuku. So tell me now, if tomorrow there is another nomination exercise, let's say like next week, I'm sure Nsuku will not nominate Swiss. She will not. Because now she knows that, okay, if not for this guy, it would have been deuces to me. But then you never know with these housemates. Betrayal is their second name. So let's see how it goes. Now, moving on to Uyanda. Uyanda's diary session was quite interesting. It was quite lengthy as well. The same thing I explained about what the housemate's sentiments towards Ashley was the same thing he said. And he said that he had caught Ashley a number of times stealing people's food, and he was not in support of that. Even though he kind of liked Ashley, but her behavior was just kind of unnecessary. And then about how he would play his game moving forward. He had said he would continue being himself. He said he would continue being vocal, but he would avoid confrontations. But even though he's going to avoid confrontations, it does not mean that he's going to be buying face. He's not going to be buying face, that he does not care whoever will do anything. He will call people's bullshit out. And he gave so many scenarios which made his diary session very, very lengthy. But this guy went on and on about speaking his truth, that he has come to realize that people fear people in the house. And because And the reason for that is because a lot of people belong to groups. That was one thing he promised himself he would never do when it comes to Big Brother's house. That he will not be a groupie. He will not join any group. Because he has noticed that when people join different friendship groups, they are afraid to speak their mind most times. And also on Sundays during the live eviction show, when Smash Africa asks them questions, they are afraid to answer because they belong to a friendship group. So he's going to be cool with people, but he's not going to be a groupie. He's not going to be one of those people that will not speak his truth because he's trying not to, hurt people's feelings. No, that he's going to continue calling a spade a spade. And I was here giving this guy a round of applause because, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it's a competition. So you cannot continue to shrink and shrink and shrink. If you continue to shrink and shrink and shrink to be digestible to everybody, I'm sorry, you're going to become air. And you phase out or you fizzle out. Tonight's diary session, when asked if she would have done if she was in Sweetie's position with regards to last night's eviction, she had said the same thing she said last night, that she was going to do the exact same thing. All the reasons she gave were the exact same reasons that all the other housemates gave, ladies and gentlemen. And then Big Brother had asked her about how she would play her game moving forward. And she had turned that session to speak about Sipe. Now, the question Swiss had asked on Sunday, I'd asked Sipe. She had come from the angle, guys, basically, Nate was just playing reverse psychology with the viewers, right? So she was coming from the angle of, oh my God, Sipe has been talking about me from week 1. It's like every day there's something new she's talking about me. Every day she's always talking about me. I didn't even do anything to her. I don't even know what I did to her. But she's just talking about me all the time. And I've been being myself. I've just been being myself. I'm not even pretending. It's just so sad, Big Brother. Honestly, I don't even know. And you see, while this girl was speaking, I was just laughing. I was laughing because, first of all, I can smell the treachery from far. I could see the reverse psychology. And I've told you all this thing before, that Nate is the queen of manipulation. And it's a fantastic game. Although a game is quite lethal. A game is dirty. A game is deadly as well. But she is playing a fantastic game of manipulation. She's manipulating some of the housemates now, because some of the housemates have clocked her game, but she's also manipulating a lot of the viewers, right? And that's exactly what she was doing. Because one, she lied. Sipe has never in any way been talking about Nate every week. That's a bloody lie from the pit of hell. It was only last week, week 4, when Sipe clocked Nate's game, that she started having conversations about Nate. And she had that conversation for only 2 days. 2 days, like only 2 days, and that is because people asked her, "Oh, what do you what happened? This and that." She had the conversation with Jojo and her closest friends. She had that conversation for only 2 days, and then when Smash Africa came, he made it look like she particularly had been gossiping about Nate from day 1 till that Sunday. So she came and you could tell that she was trying to pit the viewers against Sipe, the hero of the house that is fighting against sexual harassment and blah, blah, blah. Look at me. Oh my goodness. Somebody is trying to bring me down. That was what she was doing. And guys, I was just laughing. But I give it to her though, because there are still a lot of people out there that believe everything she says hook, line, and sinker. They do not see the game she's playing. But I give it to her. She is the queen of manipulation. It's not easy to manipulate people. It takes a lot of work, but it comes easy to Nate. So that was a diary session. And then finally there was Nsuku. Nsuku is still in shock. She did not see it coming, what happened yesterday. She was quite shocked, and she was telling Big Brother that she never ever wants to find herself in that position ever again. That she understands now that most of the housemates, they want her out, but she's just going to continue playing her game. She's going to continue being herself. And ladies and gentlemen, there wasn't much to Nsuku's diary session. It was quite entertaining though. She cried at some point, but that was that. I'm going to stop talking here right now because I would love to hear from all of you. So please go ahead, share your thoughts about all I have spilled on this video. Share in the comment section below. I will see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah. Thanks for watching and have an amazing evening. Bye.